The need to rename a part file in SOLIDWORKS is quite common. In an earlier lesson on the topic of file relationships, we saw an example of how not to do this. Here, we'll be reviewing a couple of different methods for renaming part files that won't lead to broken references. What I'll be doing here is changing the name of the component called Part 1 in this assembly to an actual part number. The trick to doing this effectively is to change the name, but also make sure the assembly is aware that the name is changed. This will eliminate the problem of opening the assembly later and being told that the assembly can't find Part 1. Do I really want to search for it? The first method I'll be using to accomplish this is to simply do a Save As. The key to this working properly is that any documents referencing this file must be open. What I mean is, if I have an assembly where Part 1 is used, it must be open in SOLIDWORKS like it is here. If I have a drawing where Part 1 is used, it must be open in SOLIDWORKS. In fact, I do have a drawing for this part, so I'll open it now. Now that both the assembly and the drawing are open, I'll open Part 1 in its window. I'll click File, Save As, and SOLIDWORKS gives me a warning. I'm being told that by using Save As, the pointers of any open documents will be updated to look at the new file. I'm also told that I can avoid this by using the Save As Copy option. Applying the message to this example, SOLIDWORKS is saying that if I continue with Save As, the assembly and the drawing I have open will be updated, so they point to the newly saved part file. And this is exactly what I'm trying to do, so I'll continue. I'll name the part 123-4 and click Save. At this point, I can close the part and return to the assembly. If I go to the component's properties, notice the assembly is now looking at the new part, 123-4. To update the part name as it appears in the feature tree, I can type it in up here and click OK. Since the pointer within this assembly is changed, I have to click Save, just as if any other change had been made to the assembly. The assembly has now forgotten about Part 1 and now only recognizes component 123-4. Likewise, I can switch over to the drawing and click Save to lock in the new pointer to component 123-4. To make absolutely certain that what I've done has been successful, I'll close both the drawing and the assembly. In the File Open window, I can select the assembly and check its references to confirm I'm now looking at 123-4. The same is true for the drawing. Keep in mind all we've done is create a new component with the correct name, and we've changed the pointers in the assembly and drawing so they find the correct part. However, the original component called Part 1 still exists. It simply isn't being referenced by the other documents. To be thorough, it would be a good idea to delete Part 1 to avoid future confusion, or at least move it to another directory. Two things were important in order for this procedure to work. First, the assembly and drawing that were referencing the part were open in SOLIDWORKS. And second, I used Save As and not Save As Copy. See, this allowed me to rename the part file and at the same time update the assembly and drawing so they'd point at the new file. So when do you use Save As Copy? I find it useful when you're about to branch off of a design and try a new idea. Before you make drastic changes, I recommend creating a backup copy of your part using Save As Copy. This leaves a copy intact that you can return to if your idea doesn't pan out. The Save As procedure I just went through is effective when renaming a part that's not used in many places. A typical case would be during conceptual design, when you haven't yet assigned official part numbers to your models. It's okay to start a design with generic names such as base and cover. Then later, when you're committed to the design, you can actually introduce part numbers using this procedure. In cases you wish to rename a part that may be used in many drawings and many assemblies, you might consider using SOLIDWORKS Explorer instead.